I was playing with my sisters and my uncles, and we were playing a game of hide and seek. My grandmother used to have this huge closet, and while we were playing in there, I hid in there first. And my other uncle was seeking us, so my younger uncle came in the closet because it was so large with me. And here's the thing. I had never been exposed to anything like this, but this scary moment was when I started feeling someone's hands go up my thighs, my little skinny thighs. And while they were going up my thighs, they were getting closer to my area. That scared me. When my other uncle came by the door, I heard this thump. And so he shook and he held back, pulled his hand away. Because my uncle could not find us hiding, we eventually got out and I was able to breathe. My uncle started graduating from just touching me until he went full-fledged doing what he needed to do to satisfy himself. This took time from the age of 4 all the way to the age of 12. When I was 12 years old, I remember this so vividly. My mother asked him to babysit us or take care of us, and he came over. No adult was there but him. He laid me down on my mother's bed. I'll never forget. Color of the blanket, the flowers, the curtains, the exact room I remember, the scent. I remember when he tried to go inside of me, and the pain of it felt so brutal. And while he was doing what he was doing, I remember, this is too deep, Vaseline, okay? And he did what he had to do. And he kept slipping and was hurting, couldn't do what he had to do. And that was the most gruesome time because the pain never left me. The memory of that pain sticks with me even today. Eventually, and I get to 12 years old, my uncle does something crazy and he gets locked up. And that's when God allowed me to start living my life. Although no one knows I'm going through sexual abuse, I'm going through physical and emotional abuse. Not to me, but because it was being done to my mother. My mom had abuse happening to her, and she did not know how to protect her own daughters. She had a severe way of doing it. She would always check us physically. And that did a lot of damage to my older sister, because who wants to be feeling like you're violated because your mom was checking to see if anybody's bothering you? I didn't know how to express what I was dealing with. And the insecurities in me began to really grow because I was holding this information. And that's why I began to gain weight and lost my sense of worth. My mother was rough on us. Why? And I allow her to be rough on us physically, especially me, because I knew in my little head, I don't know how I thought like this, that if she released her pain on me, it was the same pain she wanted to release on my father. So one day I got some guts. I don't know how, but when he was trying to hit my mother, he had an iron in his hand, and I know he smacked her one time with it. And so somehow we got to the hallway where it leads to outside, but we were on the 3rd floor. So I see he got the iron and he wants to hit my mother again. And I told my sister, we're going to grab the cord to the iron so we can pull his behind down the stairs. So we do that. We grab the cord and we pull him down while he's trying to fight my mother with the iron, right? He falls downstairs. Somehow we get to the 2nd level. My father's still trying to get at my mother, and the cord is like wrapped around all of us, and we just trying to really keep him and prevent him from hitting her, because he was so like, listen, where it didn't even make any sense. So I decide somehow to put him in a headlock. So that means I had my hands in this position and I held tight. He swings his elbow and knocks me out cold. But while I'm knocked out cold, my hands were locked behind his head and I was knocked out. And when they came to bring me to, my hands were still stuck together. There were so many people in the hallway. People were screaming, call the cops, call the cops. Checking on my mother, checking on me, but I'm done. I'm like, I'm knocked out. And they had to pry my hands off of my father. He'd find any reason just to punch her. I wanted to prevent her pain, and I tried everything in my power to do it. Well, when I went to college, I didn't want to leave her. I was scared, and I would pray every day like, Lord. I would call her, check on her. Mommy, how's he doing? And one day she called me. She said, T, guess what? Your dad quit drinking. And to me, I said, that don't matter. He's still who he is. And it took years for me to trust him. To the day he died, he still was, physically abusive, but it didn't matter. She thought it was a good thing, because I know that to her, at least that'd be one component that she would have to deal with less. I'm now married. It's like 2006 I got married. I just got to breathe when my mother passed. Her leaving me so early hurt, but I was more grateful that God cared for her enough to lay her to rest so that she can have an ending to that. So as she did that started to begin to free me. There was a time in my life where God moved me from the state of New Jersey to Tennessee. When I was younger, in college, I get a call that my uncle shot the pastor 8 times. The same uncle who raped and molested me as a child. And then I was told he shot the pastor 8 times because he found out that the pastor had raped and molested my male cousin who was 11 years old when he did it. I went and I had a collapse. I said, how dare you shoot someone for the same thing you've been doing to me all my life. I didn't say it to him, but I went off on grandma because he was locked up by that time. I went off on mommy and I went off on everybody. And I told everybody everything that had been done to me since I was a 4-year-old child. I had a cousin who planned for him to come because she did not believe that he did what he did to me, because that was everybody's favorite uncle. So she decided right when he got out of jail from shooting the pastor 9 years later to bring him to my house. And I freaked out. It was a moment of this monster's in my house and I have a daughter. So I never tied in how young he was. But he was a monster to me since I was a little kid. And now he's in my house. So I had to go through a transition and a purging. And that same night when they left my house, I called my cousins and I told them everything that my uncle did to me. Immediately, my cousin calls my uncle and says, you owe T an apology. Eventually, I get that apology and God starts the process of healing me. So I moved to Tennessee, and a year and a half later, I get a call from the same uncle. Now, mind you, whenever he needed something, I would send money. But I always prayed to the Lord for him to never to physically need to be in my home. So what I did was kept that prayer and always thought to say no. But this time, God didn't have me say no. So one day I found out that my uncle was not as old as I had created him to be in my mind. And once I found that out, I realized the severity that I had created in my head, and the monster I created in my head was not as big as it really was. And once God gave me that revelation, I was able to then go through my process of healing and being able to work towards forgiveness. That happened once we started sitting down and having conversations. And we began to work through the pain, and he gave me a true apology bigger than I had ever expected. My life has made amazing turnarounds. God has done great things in my life. I'm now living my full purpose, and that is to help others to heal, help them to grow, help them to be all that God has called them to be. I am a mother. I'm a wife. I have an amazing life, and I'm enjoying doing what I do. I am an author, a teacher, and a leader in the kingdom of God. And I just want you to know that if you keep pressing and you keep fighting, there's nothing impossible for God in your life.